Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is Nikki here. So today I'm going to do something a little bit different. We're coming to you barefaced. Hair's a little messy, sorry about that. But I'm going to do a 90s inspired supermodel makeup look with obviously a twist. It's just going to be inspired. So we're going to try and do matte skin. We're going to do pulled up angled brows. Hopefully we're going to do the defined eyes and the lips. So I'm super excited. I'm just going to start off with a bare face. I'm going to be using the MAC strobe cream. This is in the shade pink light. This is just going to give us a little bit of iridescence to the skin. I also do have some nostalgic makeup products because I was born in the 90s, so I do have a few of them that we're going to share and talk about, and leave me some comments about your nostalgic products as well. So I'm just going to apply this all over the face and blend it nicely with my fingers. Okay, now that pink light is on, I've just realised I am doing a matte skin, so that iridescence will probably go, but it's okay. I've moisturised the skin nicely. I don't want to put foundation on bare skin at all. Now for foundation, I'm going to be using the MAC Face and Body. This is in the shade C6. This is a very sheer foundation, one of my favourites. You guys know it's in my top 3 favourite foundations because I love it so much. I get so much wear out of it. I'm going to be popping this on to my It Cosmetics blender brush. I'm just going to blend this all over the face. I'm also going to take it down the neck and chest area. Anywhere that's exposed, I always like to take my foundation down just so I am one blank canvas. Now let's just go in with a little bit of concealer. Nothing too special here. I'm going to be using the Too Faced Born This Way Multi-Use Sculpting Concealer in the shade Honey. Sorry guys. I know, I'm going to find another concealer. I do love this concealer. I'm just going to apply it the tiniest amount underneath my eyes. I don't want it to be too full coverage, but I still want coverage underneath my eyes. And then I'm going to blend that out using a beauty blender. Now I'm going to move on to a little bit of highlighting with the concealer. I'm going to use this product. This product is so nostalgic. I used to grab this product from Superdrug when I was a teen because it was super cheap but really good. This is the Collection Lasting Perfection Ultimate Wear Concealer. I remember it being called Collection 2000. I don't know, was that a thing? I'm using the shade Cool Deep 5A just to highlight a little bit underneath my eyes, just to kind of snatch my eyes. And then I'm going to pop a little bit down the center of my face and then blend that bad boy out as well. I just love this product. I haven't picked it up in a while. They've now got new packaging, but this is the old packaging that I'm using. I managed to find the old packaging, and then I had a crusty musty one that was super old that needed to be chucked away. But I just, this brings back so much memories. Oh, that concealer is still so good. Definitely from a price point of view, I think it might have been a little bit up in price. I used to buy it when there was literally 2 shades. There was one very light one. Was it 3 shades? Yeah, I think it was 3. One very light, there was a medium, and there was slightly a bit more of a pinkier tone. I remember, and I used to be like, oh, why don't they do my color? So I always used to use this concealer just to kind of highlight with. But from a price point of view, I'm not complaining. Okay, so this was another nostalgic makeup product. This is the Maybelline Dream Matte Mousse Mattifying Foundation and Primer. I didn't realize it was and primer. I think this is in the shade Caramel. This was the first foundation that I ever used. Now looking at it, I'm like, oh my god, girl, that was too dark for your skin tone. But I just couldn't find like I couldn't afford to. And I couldn't find a shade that I fit into. So I'm actually going to be using this today, this little baby today, for my bronzer. Oh my gosh, this brings back so many memories. I can't believe everybody's had this foundation, right? I'm sure they did. Growing up in the 90s, if you didn't have this foundation, what foundation did you wear? Let me know it down below. I'm just going to bronze with this. I'm going to do like a, it's kind of like a, not a contour because it's not an ashy tone, but I'm going to do a bronze, but try and just sculpt out my cheekbones. I'm going to do a little bit different of a bronze than what I usually do. We're not going to do exactly the same. Well, honestly, just going to do to add a little bit of colour. We still want the skin to look somewhat natural, but let's bronze her up. Okay, let's be real. It's not as warm as what I would usually go, but I kind of like it. It's giving me a little bit of cheekbone. I've gone up just down the sides of my nose and taken it right into like the eyebrow area. But then what I really need to do to bring this skin together is really make it matte. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to go in, let's do the brows. Let's do the brows next and then we'll come back to skin. Okay, for brows, I want to keep them fairly natural, but I want to build on this arch because my brows are naturally quite full. I can't really manipulate the shape that much. I don't want them to be thin. I want them to be quite bushy. And I want to play on this arch right here. So I'm going to use my Benefit Precisely My Brow Pencil as per usual. This is in the shade 4, so I don't want it to be too strong, you know, like I don't want it to be too bold. I'm just going to draw I'm going to start from the arch and then I'm going to work my way towards the front. But let's just try and really get this arched up. Now, because my brows are naturally quite full, it's very easy for me to go overboard with them. So I'm just going to stop there. I mean, my brows look very similar to how I would do them anyway. I feel like low-key my makeup is very 90s other than the lip. So I like to structure my eyes the same way as well. So I'm just going to brush this all up to get more of a kind of like a bushy brow. Then I'm going to take my trusty Benefit 24-hour brow setter and I'm just going to set this in place just so that all the brow hairs don't move. Now, bearing in mind this isn't like soap brows, so I don't want it to be like really sparse or really kind of glued down. I just want a bit of structure and I want them to sort of stay put. I don't want them too flat though because I still want them to remain fluffy. Brows make such a big difference, guys. Honestly, it's your face, to everything. I remember when I overplucked my brows when I was in secondary school. Worst thing I could have ever done. I waited a whole year, I didn't touch my brows for the whole year and they grew back thick. Okay, now that brows are done, it takes me a hot minute to really be happy with my brows. They're very much not like twins or sisters. They're practically cousins. So brows are down. I'm now going to move in to powder. I feel like the 90s was all about the matte skin. So it was like matte eyes, matte lips, matte skin. I want to do that, but I want to do it without it looking too flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some of the Huda Beauty. This is the Easy Bake Loose Baking and Setting Powder in Banana Bread. I'm going to take this on my damp beauty blender. Bearing in mind, guys, when you do this, it is game over for any liquids you want to add on top. So make sure you've got all your liquids and your creams down and then go in with powder as your final step. So I'm going to use Banana Bread. I'm going to take this on my damp beauty blender, the one that we just used for our concealer, and I'm literally just going to press it underneath my eyes just to really kind of get that set, matte, and looking beautiful and airbrushed. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you know I barely touch powder. I do like, there are some staple powders that I love, Huda Beauty being one of them, just because I'm more about the glow, the dew, but I'm living for the matte right now. I love this way of doing it. You have to be very careful. Make sure that you're using a damp beauty blender, preferably just the beauty blender that you blended out your concealer with will be perfectly fine. And then you don't want to go in with a massive chunk. So when I'm doing it, I'm not technically baking, so to speak, so I'm not adding loads and loads of powder and letting it sit. I'm kind of pressing that powder into the skin, and this is the way that I found the most sort of airbrushed look to the skin. Can you see that? It looks very airbrushed. It doesn't look like patchy. My worst nightmare with powder, and why I try and avoid it, is, you know, when it sort of sinks in and it's like clung to a bit of liquid and then it's like a patch. I despise that. If that happens to me, I take off all my makeup, my base makeup, and I will redo. Like, there is no correcting that. But this looks beautiful. Let's work a little bit of blusher now on to the cheeks. So the aim of the game is to kind of go in an upwards motion. I want everything to be pulled up and out, kind of supermodel-esque. So I want it to look like high cheekbones. I think in the 90s they did use quite a bit of blusher. I love blusher, so even if they didn't, I'm going to use it. But it wasn't the shades that I tend to use, which are like corals. It was more pinky. So I've got this Technic Matte Mega Blush palette. How pretty is this? It's got beautiful pinks in, so I'm actually going to mix a few of the pinks together. I think I'm going to mix the top two together, and then I'm just going to apply this kind of high up. So on my cheeks a little bit further away, and then in a streak that goes upward. Okay, so I'm very well aware that blusher is something that can go wrong very quickly. I'm going to add a little bit to my nose because this is me. So we're going to stop there, and then I'll do my eyes, and if I feel like I need more, I'll come back and do more. So let's move on to eyes. Okay, first of all, let me just take my concealer that I used earlier, the collection one. I'm just going to prime my lids with this. I was actually going to use the Maybelline Color Tattoo in Creme de Nude. I used to use this so much as a teen. It used to be my dupe for MAC Soft Ochre, the Paint Pot Soft Ochre, because it was so expensive I couldn't afford it. I used to use this one, and it practically is the same. I feel like for right now it's going to take a while, a hot minute for me to blend out and I could just use a concealer. So, but that is another nostalgic product. I'm just going to apply the collection to my eyelids and then blend that out. Now that eyes are nicely primed, and what a huge difference that makes. It makes a big difference for me because my eyelids are fairly pigmented and I've got like a brown smoke. I'm going to be using this MAC, who remembers these MAC? You probably still have them, to be fair, because they still do them. The MAC Refillable eyeshadow palettes, the ones that you can make on your own. These are all of mine that I made, and of course I'm a neutral gal. So this brings back so many memories because I haven't picked this up in a while. I found it in my drawer, so we're going to use this today. I am going to be starting off with the shade, you know what? I think this might even be a mix of MAC and Makeup Geek shadows. Who remembers Makeup Geek? I feel like this one hasn't got a name at the end. But I feel like this one is just a beigey tone. It's not rice paper, it's a matte one. And I can't remember when I used to work there what the name of this shade is, but it's just kind of like a beigey tone. So I'm going to take this on a Shade and Diffuse Eye Bare Minerals brush. And I'm just going to wash this all over the lids. You could do this with your powder, like your face powder as well. Just a skin tone, but lighter than your skin tone. So it's going to brighten the eyes shade. Okay, so the eyes that I'm going to do now, I feel like is very me, it's very my style. So I'm going to take MAC's Soft Brown. This is just going to be my transition shade on a Morphe. This is the eyeshadow brush that's a little bit fluffy, so we're just gonna pop this into my crease. Now concentrating into my crease, bringing it up towards the eyebrow and then going into the nose contour. We really want to create this kind of shape, sort of like a cut crease, but we're gonna build to it. But we're gonna build to it with shadows and still have it diffused. I'm really sorry if this seems like my sort of makeup, but I realized that I do my eyes like this anyway. So what you want to do is you want to start creating that kind of like crease, and we're not going to be able to do that with just a diffuser, so we're going to have to build up our colors and get darker gradually and get pointier with our brushes. Just gonna smoke it out here. I like to come out and then I'm sort of attaching, but you can't really see the attachment because obviously the brush is so soft. We're just creating them shadows there for when we do add darker colors. But hopefully you can see a little bit of a depth there. That would be like my everyday look, but we're gonna keep adding. Then I'm gonna take a smaller blending brush with a little bit of a point. This is the Morphe M562, and I'm gonna go into the shade Brown Down. Of course, you don't need to use these shades, but they're good for reference anyway. Thank you so much. We're gonna use Brown Down, and then I'm gonna take this again, concentrating into that crease to try and create a little bit of depth right there and just keep building. Okay, so I'm hoping you guys can see the big difference already. We've sort of got like a faux cut crease, but all made with shadows, and it's more to do with your tools. Like you want the precision. Now you can go in with a black in here. If I'm honest, I really like the way that I've just built that brown down shade. So I've just layered on top to really intensify it. So it's kind of gone really, really dark into the crease. I've then winged it out right here and then brought it back in to a V shape. We are going to be doing liner as well, so this will connect to your liner. But I think I really like the eyes. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of this shadow, mix the transition and the brown down, and just apply it to my lower lash line. I'm going to quickly soften up. You see, like here, I'm a perfectionist, so I like to just soften that up with a little bit of our transition shade, just to make sure it's really nicely blown out. Then what I'm going to do, just to clean this up slightly, is take the first brush with the first shade, that kind of beigey tone. We don't want too much, but I'm just going to clean the lid back up. So anything that might have fallen into the lid, made it a bit mucky, we're just going to clean this back up. Now I've just added a quick wing with my tattoo liner. You don't want to be scared with this, just wing it out, wing that bad boy out, bring it all the way in. Usually I stop halfway, that's what I like to do, but we want a really defined eye, so we're going to bring it all the way in to the inner corner. You thought we were done with the eyes and we're not. I'm going to take a Carbon from MAC. Any black shadow will do. I'm just going to press this over the top of that wing liner and kind of connect it to the crease shade. But because this is black, I'm going to be super, super careful with it. You honestly just want to press, so it's almost like setting that pen liner in place. Even though it doesn't need setting, we're just going to press that kind of like blur it out a little bit and then connect. Next we're going to move on to mascara. Of course I'm going to use the Maybelline Great Lash Mascara, the classic pink and green packaging. I'm just going to apply a few coats of this because we are going to be applying some itty bitty lashes on. So let me just apply this on to my natural lashes. Now that mascara is on, you can leave your eyelashes like this, but I want a little bit, just a tiny bit of Refillable. So I'm going to be using the Ardell. Do you remember these? I used to use the wispies and the demi wispies all the time. I still sort of do, but I know there was a period of time where growing up I was like, I just want to wear the wispies. Everyone was wearing the wispies. These are the Ardell Faux Mink wispies, the demi wispies. So they kind of like spread out towards the end, they fan out, which we love. So I'm just going to chuck these babies on. They've also got an invisible band, which is so much easier because it's just super thin and you're not going to be able to see it. So I'm just going to apply these and I'll be right back. Okay, now that the lashes are on, do you know what? I don't know why I don't wear these lashes that much. I think I'm going to pick them back up because they're so nice. They're super natural. I'm just going to touch up. I've just touched up a little bit. Just defined it a little bit more because I feel like we can go a little bit harder with this. So we've just done a little bit of definition there. Then I'm just going to add a little bit of mascara on my lower lashes just to complete the eyes. And now let's try our hand at a classic 90s lip. I'm going to try my best. So we're going to try and do a little bit of an overdraw. We're going to do more of a cool brownie tone. I'm going to start off with this lip liner by MAC and Teyana Taylor. This is Hodgepodge lip pencil. So I'm just going to line my lips with this. And when I'm going to overdraw, I'm going to try and do it from the corner going upwards. So we build on that curve. So it's a little bit more poutier. And then just running a little bit of chestnut on the outer corner just to get that little bit of definition. Then going to finish with I Got a Man matte lipstick with Teyana Taylor's collaboration with MAC. This is kind of like a mauvey sort of brown. So just going to pat this on to the lip. Again, just working that chestnut in. We still want there to be not too a distinct line. We want there to be some definition to the lips. And then blend that into your lipstick as well. With the lipstick, I always like to just kiss kitchen towel, just to make it more like a stain. I don't like it when you can see the lipstick sitting on the lips. And that, guys, is it for this 90s inspired makeup look, supermodel inspired makeup look. Let me know what you think down below. I absolutely love it. It's not too far off what I usually wear anyway. But I'm loving the matte skin. I think I'm going to have to do matte skin more. Follow me on Instagram. I'm going to leave the link down below because I'll be sharing all my tips and tricks there. I also upload there daily, so you'll be able to see a lot more of me there. And until next time, I'll see you in my next video. Mwah.